Hey, welcome back to a new Sscope episode. We are on the Weather Network right now, so thank you for joining us on this beautiful place. We got Mohammed, we got Abdul Fattah, you got myself, Musa, you got Yassine, and we got Mohammed as well. So how we're gonna differentiate the Mohammeds? We'll just look at them. How about that? We'll just look at them, and then we know which we're talking to. Mohammed on the left, Mohammed on the left.
Wait, your left or their left?
Oh, true. You know what?
Figure it out yourself.
They look the same as well. I don't
like Mohammed, man.
Which one? Which one are you talking about?
No comment.
So today we're going to be speaking about a very, very important issue that's very kind of dear to our hearts, etc. But we've been talking about the bullying aspect of people that can't speak Somali. So right now everyone's calling everyone that can't speak Somali the Somali Hoy Matala gang, right? Yeah. So at this point in time, it's it's always been actually, whenever you try to speak Somali, or whenever you try to even someone that can't speak Somali, who can't pronounce it, some of the words, etc., they get bullied. They don't get any help. They don't get anything like that. They don't get told how to say it properly. They'll say, "Oh, Kali, I feel it." You know what I'm saying? Like, "Oh, look at this guy. He can't even do it." Blah, 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 etc. They'll make the kid hate the language. You know what I'm saying? Which pushes the kid further and further away from the language itself. So to the point where they won't be able to speak it. So, what's your views on that, Mohammed? On the left.
Which Mohammed?
On the left.
I feel like, do you know, a part of me is like, it's not that deep, because I think this is the Somali sort of way of bantering.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I think some people will see it as motivating. So it motivates you to just look past it, because when I look back at some things, for example, some of my dad's friends, their nicknames are based on something to do with them, like an imperfection, like Ali Lugdar. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So to them, I don't think it's that deep.
Right. Okay, cool. But then, do you not still think that's bullying if you call someone Ali
100%,
Lugdar?
I don't. But when people ring my house, because I'm someone that you would describe as high matala. Do you know what I mean? My Somali is somewhat weak. To the point where if the phone rings at home, I look at the number. If it's plus whatever Somali code is, I just pass it away. I will not take that L. So I'll avoid the L.
You avoid speaking, and you think, okay, cool. Then so even going back to the point that you made about like nicknames and that kind of stuff. But we'll get into that later on. What do you think about the whole bullying aspect of the language?
The bullying that we have is different. Like what you experience, what it does is usually it makes you focus on the language. So you're aware of, first of all, you made a mistake.
Right.
Because usually Somalis, you make a mistake, they correct you, and moving on doesn't help. Direct.
Right.
It doesn't help.
Uh-huh.
So they kind of stick on it, and they make you continuously and be aware of the problem that you have. Like, okay, your Somali is weak, so you identify yourself with it, first of all. Secondly, some people can't handle the pressure, and they end up not speaking at all in Somali. So then you have the zeros, for example.
You're gonna have to speak to them.
That barely speak the language, and then you have the ones that try to, because they've been bullied and they've been exposed to that, and the ones that overcome all of that and later on end up becoming really good at it. So it's bullying, but I think it's necessary, because if you don't, I've not heard of Somalis learning this at home, like learning the language at home.
Right.
They tell you, okay, you should do this, you should say this, you should say that. It's more of a you learn through bullying.
Okay, so Yassine, do you reckon that's flawed in the sense where?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's not like this is the only way to learn a language. You need to get taken the absolute pee out of. You can learn it in a different way. So if you go to a European country and you make a mistake over there, sorry, my German isn't so good. No, your German is good. Your German's better than my English. That's what they'll say. Yeah. You know, encouraging people. I think if you make a mistake, if you become aware of that mistake, straight away you're less likely to make it again. Now, if someone takes the piss out of you, bringing an example of someone that I know personally who went to Somalia and just didn't speak at all to anybody. They were there for like 2 months, just didn't talk to anyone because they were scared of, like, right, if I have a conversation with someone, they're going to, take the mickey out of my Somali and people are going to laugh at me. So I think it's counterproductive. But some people do kind of thrive under that pressure and then become amazing in Somali.
What do you think about that style? Like, what do you think about the whole two perspective on that?
I think in our community there's a lot of bullying going on, and it's not just the language, but it's the whole tough love. So what they would do is they would beat someone down and expect them to get up. But I think our generation, we're cut from a different cloth to to how our parents grew up. So they would say something, it's joke or banter, and Allah wahfal huma, and you think you can't say that. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden they're like, nah, you have to take it like a man, innit? Yeah. Or they'll come up to you and say to you like, محاتري أدرو كاله بالك عثمانه بالك دقيسو المه like it's you're a joke. You know what I mean? So it's not the fact that all right, it's they're trying to teach you something. They're trying to have fun. So you getting over it is like your strength. It's got nothing to do with like a Somali parent or a Somali, you know what I mean? Like the elders. It's something that you did yourself. So I don't think they can't take credit for the fact that they're flipping, you know, beating you down and taking a piss out of you, and then all of a sudden you speak good Somali, because a lot of them, they can't speak any other language except Somali, you know what I mean? And no one says to them, oh my God, what, beef or pencil? Nah, that's not right, G. You're wasting for that, you can't say that, you know what I mean? Yeah. And when they're trying to learn English, have you not seen the older generation? However, like, read this paper for me because you know better English than I do, and then they're sitting there like listening to them. Oh, is it? Don't you pronounce it like this? And you're like, no, this is how it's pronounced. They're like, oh, wallah, mashallah, Farid. You know what I mean? But when it comes to Somali, they don't have the same enthusiasm. You know what I mean? They don't teach their kids. So it's like, come on, man. And then later on, they laugh at. I've seen some people where they what they do is we kufana, you know what I mean? They'll be like, ha, enake koma hadlo af Somali, koma ba hadlo af English kis wuxuu ka haysta. وحاول ما شاء الله like but then what about Somali made the وقت لو ما هينين. So what she was doing is she was learning English on her son or her daughter, right. So all of a sudden they come and people are laughing at them because they can't speak Somali, and they're like, yeah, but no one taught me.
Yeah, well, I want to go back to the whole Lempa point where he said, Mohammed's point now, when he said that in terms of like households, they don't really go out of their way to teach someone the language. They teach you through either conversation, as in you're having an A to B conversation, but no one's really teaching you like they do in like in the European countries or in the Arab countries or anything like that. There's no really like and like a knowledgeable gaining thing on a consistency. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's it depends on the household, doesn't it?
No,
because the first like if I'm speaking about me personally, the first thing I learned, the first alphabet was Somali. You know what I mean? Right. So, but that's me personal right. experience.
But, okay, from your point of view now, do you think that's a common thing? There's a common theme among every household from your perspective.
I would say it's not oral, but it depends where your parents' academic, where they, you know what I mean? Like for me, my dad is a teacher.
Okay,
you understand?
Okay, so that's totally different.
It's completely different. So when he was teaching me Somali or Arabic or any other language, he would look at it from like an academic perspective. So he would say, this is what it's called in English, this is what it's called in Arabic and Somali and blah blah, and you learn it like that.
Okay, so I got a question for Mohammed there. So Mohammed, do you think like that we would benefit 10 times more if we looked at it from an academic perspective?
100%. I think a lot of Somali parents moved up here, right? And you have to understand that they've left a lot of things behind them. So I feel if they taught you from this perspective that from an educational point of view, like they do here in the schools, like you said, when you go to the school, they teach you this how you do it, and this how you do it, this how you do it. I think a lot of us would become like not just fluent, but proud of being fluent in Somali.
Right. 100%. Yeah. All right, so okay,
I got a question.
Yeah.
You know the fact that you said that you learned Somali in school?
No, I never learned Somali.
You never learned that?
Never.
Did any of you guys have thingy? Because I went to an Islamic school.
Okay.
One of the lessons was actually Somali.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
We'd have a Somali teacher. I say teacher, but I don't think he was actually qualified. It was in Holland, and when we learn, we wouldn't really give it any attention or energy as much as whatever other subjects that we were doing. And I don't know, because maybe we were younger then. At that time, I was in primary school then. But I think they do them now here in England, don't they?
Yeah. Was this teaching Somali language in school?
Yeah, they teach Somali language in school. And it's helpful. I learned some stuff, but I was too young to actually remember. But I'm talking about at the level of, for example, secondary school, year 11, you wouldn't be learning Somali language.
No.
You'd be more focusing on your GCSEs. Learning how to read and write in Somali is something I picked up myself. It's not something that was proper taught to me in class sense, like you said, learning the alphabet and stuff. I was just told, okay, the differences is C is A, X is Ha, let's go. And you just practice. And
Keep up,
by
yeah.
writing more and reading more, you pick up and read more, and your reading level increases. So that is completely different to like when you're being bullied and told, okay, you should learn your language, or they're actually teaching you. But then, Abdi, you said like your father taught you. I want to know, do you think there's like a percentage of people that even though they are academic, they don't get taught this at home?
Like, so there's some people out there whose
Yeah.
parents are academic but didn't teach their...
They didn't teach them, yeah.
100%, yeah. There are a lot of people because they think, I want my son to do like Somali, it's them speaking Somali is the least of their worries. Back then, when they first came to the country and they saw their kids like growing up and going to school and that, them learning Somali was not in it. But now, 15, 20 years down the line, when they've seen these kids, like, you know, these Greek kids in the 90s now, they've grown up to become adults, and they're
Some don't know how to count,
and they can't count, and they're like, Indo, is that your back? And you're like, come on, man, like, you know what I mean? So now all of a sudden they've realized we're screwed up. You know what I mean?
But
we didn't really focus on the Somali language.
Does that come from like a lack of ratings, like the lack of respect for our own language? Like we see languages like French and German to be useful, but as a whole, as a community, we don't value the Somali language as much as that, which goes to back to what he was saying about primary school, where you just go in the class and you sort of mess about and you don't listen.
I don't think it's not about ratings, it's about how we came to this country. We didn't come here by choice. You know what I mean? We came here because we ran from war.
Right.
So it's like, as soon as they came here, they're like, my kid needs to get good grades, get a good job, be stable. You know what I mean? So
Adapt.
Somali is like, come on.
But I feel like so
I mean-
I've got a question for you guys. So do you feel like the Somali language and not knowing it takes a lot away from you in terms of like your inner culture self? Like, do you feel like you lack a lot of culture because if you don't have Somali language, do you reckon that takes
100%. I feel like, do you know how they say meaning is lost in translation?
Right.
How are you going to translate Somali culture or being Somali if you don't speak it at all?
Right.
You know, I feel like, for example, at home, when my mum and my dad used to, watch riwayat or stuff like that, and they'd crack a joke, and then I'd ask, they'd both laugh, and I'd ask, what's funny? So they translate it to me in Arabic or English, and I think that's not funny, like that's not better at all. So I feel a part of your identity is essentially lost if you don't have your language.
Okay, what do you guys think about?
Yeah, I totally agree because like, at the end of the day, if you want to cuss someone down, Somali is one of the best languages to do that in. Wallahi, if you want to give someone like an absolute bollocking, basically, you can't translate that back into English. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Damer, like it doesn't have the same ring to it when you say in English, donkey. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It just doesn't sound as good. So yeah, definitely. And a lot of our raqan, a lot of what's ingrained in our culture comes from the way we say things. So absolutely, yeah.
What do you think about that, Mohammed?
The thing is, if it's just the Somali language, you can say, okay, that person doesn't speak Somali, but he might be he might know about his culture. He might
But do you think
be dressing or behaving in that typical Somali way?
But do you feel like if you don't know the language,
percentage dies,
do you feel like a bit of that identity?
A bit,
dies?
yeah. But it's not like I would say, Somali maaha qofkan
Somali
waa
maaha,
kale,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
because they can't communicate, and it's a language. It's something you can actually pick up.
Yeah.
Whereas
But
cultural stuff like wearing your ma'awis around and doing basic things that you do as a Somali is very hard to do.
But I feel like the language thing is a very important factor, but I think a lot of people overlook it. Mainly nowadays, there's like a support group on Twitter nowadays where people, hey, we are Hoya Matala gang, and this is like who we are, like it's simple as that. But and I kind of get why they did that, because they've been through so much, and then they're like, you know what, we're just gonna own it and make it into a label. But I want to go back and touch on a point that we made in regards to bullying in terms of nicknames, right? So the whole Somali nickname kind of thing. And do you think as a culture, that's just a thing that we do? We just the hard tough love type of thing. Is that our go-to way of showing love?
I think like our whole like culture. No, I wouldn't say our whole culture, but the way we have grown up. There's no police or all of that stuff. I remember when we first came to this country, and then my dad was like, "Give me this" to someone, innit? I'm like, "Dad, you can't say that." He said, you have to say pardon, please, blah blah. But it was like, "Mahawbariya, Anika," you know what I mean? Like, why am I begging him to give me stuff? I was like, no, it's the language, and it's something you say. So we don't have that in our language, but it's not something we have done. So tough love is the most thing the thing we do the most in it. But the whole bullying, I don't agree with it, because the other day I was watching a YouTube clip where a girl through her YouTube tried to learn Somali, right?
Right.
And she's there saying, "Hi, yo, this and that," and you can see obviously why some people might be taking a piss out of her, because her Somali was proper like Hoya Matalo thing, innit? Even the pronunciation was not even there. Like it was like a Adan girl speaking, but she was actually trying, and she was learning, and she was saying the words and trying to repeat it, and people were supporting her, whatever. Some guy took that video, right, and made a comedy out of it.
Right.
Literally just destroying her this and that. And obviously it looked like a freshie himself, innit? But he's gonna take that video. He took that video, slapped it on Facebook, and all of a sudden it has 200,000 views, right? So her aunt sent her a message saying, "Oh right, check this out. You guys actually collaborated." And it's like, no, like he took the piss out of me.
Yeah.
And she was in Kenya, so this video traveled from somewhere in America to Kenya, and people were like, so, and then she was like, "You know what? I'm never gonna speak Somali again. I actually tried, it didn't work. Somali's not for me. I tried to learn it, so forget it. What's the point?"
So do you feel like the way we go about stuff discourages people?
100%. Like we don't do things to help people.
Okay.
Majority of the time, we do it for our own entertainment.
I think what comes into it as well, though, is the clash of cultures, though, because like, had we grown up in Somalia and had we been surrounded by all of that, we would have taken that on board and like, all right, if someone says, the way you pronounce that is dead, you just move along with it. You know what I'm saying? But because we, like you were saying, we don't have a culture of being polite. Like, it took me up until I was like 22 to realize there was a word for please in Somali. I didn't know there was a word for please, wallah. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds so demeaning, doesn't like the whole please in Somali.
Yeah, fadlan. Like nobody uses that word. Nobody. Yeah, exactly. Like, what am I begging for? So I think had we grown up over there, then it would have been calm. But because we're over here and we're used to this, the teacher saying, "Please, can you do this?" instead of "Hadda samaya," you know what I'm saying? Because of that, we take it differently than they do.
So we become a bit softer being here than
yeah.
But I feel the whole point they're trying to avoid. I'm sorry.
No, go with that.
Our parents don't want us to be soft. They're trying to toughen you up. That's the whole point of it. What they do is they pick out your weakest point, and that's your nickname, and that sticks with you. Whether you're 12 or you're 40, they'll pick it out, and they don't care about that. But some people take it on the chin. Others, it doesn't work for them, like you described in that scenario, Abdi. But I don't know. I think it's a way that's been working for majority.
Yeah, just to wrap it up, that point there, I fully agree with that because of the fact that like if you get called a certain nickname from a young age, because I feel like a lot of people grow up nowadays and they're like, "Oh, why are they bullying me?" whatever, etc. And a lot of people can't take people mocking them, etc. But if you grow up in a Somali household and you get this tough love and you get all this mockery that you get from your family members, the people that you grew up with all your life, your mum and everyone that you're close to, if they are mocking you, then no one else can really harm you with words. Like a lot of people can't hack words, and that is literally all they are.
Well, that duality of like, you go to school, and then your teachers being all like, "Oh, you're this, try again, well done." Then you come home and you're being told the Mario.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get confused. You're gonna be like,
you are. No, 100% you are. But then, like Mohammed said there, they want you to be tough. They don't want you to be weak. This world is not really for the weak because people will take advantage of that. You wanna wrap it up with?
I just want to say, if any parents are actually watching this, like make sure you take into consideration the fact that basically some of these kids have grown up here, so they don't know where you're coming from. You know what I mean? So in school, they're being told, "Listen, does your parents bully you? Do they hit you? Do they do this? Do that?" And the kids don't understand. No, they don't. So they'll be like, "Yeah." My dad bullied me the most.
Yeah, if you were to explain it to them why you're doing this at least, or even try to go about it in a different perspective,
way,
then that'll be, I think, a lot more productive than what you're doing. But at the same time, what you're doing is amazing. So so thank you guys for watching the Weather Network, and make sure you subscribe, share it with your friends and stuff, and let the platform grow. Go on.
I was gonna say they're already subscribed.
But make your friends subscribe.
Oh, okay, that's a good one.
Okay, bye. Thank you.